Masechet Pesachim. Our Amoud today is Samech Hey. We're starting Samech Daled Amoud Bet. We're going to get through it Bezrat Hashem. You want a Gemara, Natan? Where's the floppy Gemaras?
Here.
Good. Okay, so yesterday said we're speaking about Korban Pesach. Very interesting daf. Amar v'Yitzchak brought the Gemara. Amar v'Yitzchak en Pesach nishchat ela b'gimel kitot shel 30 ben adam. So when we're speaking about Korban Pesach, don't forget that we spoke about yesterday in the Gemara that all of Am Yisrael has to come and show up to be able to do the Korban Pesach over there. Now, we said that it's in 3 different stages. Everybody comes in, we lock the doors. Everybody comes in, they finish, they come out, we come in a new group, they lock the doors. All of Am Yisrael is coming in 3 stages. And the reason why, because the Pasuk says, Kal ve'eda b'Yisrael. It needs to be a Kal, one group, Eda, another group, and Israel are going to shech the Korban Pesach on that day. So it's 3 groups. But here the Gemara says, En Pesach nishrat ela b'gimel kitot shel 30 bnei adam. There needs to be at least 30 in each group. 3 groups of 30. That's the minimum. There could be more. We're going to see that it was at one point 4 million people in each group. We're going to make the cheshbon. 4 million people in each group in the size of a football field. Like how big is the Chatzer Beit HaMikdash? It's not so big. 100 Amoud by 50 Amoud. It's not. It's like from here to Beit Rambam. I don't know what it is. It's not much.
That's the Beit HaMikdash. You have also the...
No, but even the Azara, everybody was there. 4 million people in the Azara shechting. We're going to see. It was a miracle. It was partially a miracle. It was מקום ש, מחזיק, מעט מחזיק דמרובה. So the Gemara says, so how do we know it has to be 30? Because the Pasuk says, I bebat achat u'misapkelan. We're not sure, I bebat achat. So when it says, when it has to be at least 30 people, we're not sure if it has to be 30 people at one time. I bezeh achazeh, or maybe it needs to be 30, one after the other. So is it 30 in one shot, or is it 30, 30, 30? So even today, when they want to go Korban Pesach, you mean a minimum of, we're going to see 50 people to be able to do it. Ikach, ba'inyan shalosh kitot shel 30 bnei adam. Di bebat achat ha'ika. So if it's in one shot 30, well you have 30. When if you have to be 10 times 3, well you have it. Ha'ika. Yidkach b'chamishim namisagya. So even with 50 people, we can do the Korban Pesach. How does it work? The aili tiltin. So 30 people go in. Ve'avde. Ve'aili asara. Ve'nafke. So 10 new ones come in and 10 come out. Asara. V'nafke asara, aili asara, v'nafke asara. Another 10 come in, another 10 come out. So there, with 50 people, you can get 3 groups of 30. One group of 30.
One group of a new 10 people.
You need a new 10 people. But since you need 30 every time, so then we're going to have 30. So even with 50 people, we can make Korban Pesach. The Gemara says, Itmar, nichnisa kat rishona. So in the Mishnah we said, the first group goes in, and then we lock the doors of the Azara. We're talking about, so now Erev Pesach, the 14th Nisan, we're bringing the sheep, and where everybody's doing their Korban Pesach over there. So the first group comes in, we lock the doors of the Nash. Look what it says. Idmar, Abayemer nin alu tanan. It doesn't say we lock, they were locked on their own. Rabba amar noalin tanan. And Rabba says, no, we lock them. My benayu, ike benayu nimismach nisa. Do we rely on a miracle? Abaye amar ninanu tanan kamed de'ayne manu misamchinan nisa. So what do you mean? According to Abaye, we don't put any shomer at the door. There's no watchman at the door. Everybody's coming in, and the doors lock on themselves. The doors of the Beit Mikdash close by themselves and lock.
Only the designated time or the whole group?
All the people, the whole group.
The whole group can do.
The whole groups. Rava amar no'anin tnan, lo samchinan anis. And Rava says, no, we don't rely on a miracle, that we have to lock the doors. What are we talking about? Every single Jew has to have a Korban Pesach, above the age of 13. So everybody has to have a kazait of Korban Pesach. A kazait of meat on Erev Pesach. We have a Korban. On the 14th Nisan, you eat matzah. On Pesach, you eat matzah, but you also eat a Korban. It's a sheep and kevis. We are eating it there. And how do we eat it? We have to shecht it, all of Klal Yisrael on the 14th Nisan to do a shchita. How do you say it? To égorger? How do you say it? To shecht? To slaughter? How do you say slaughter in French? Égorger. You have the égorger on the 14th Nisan. Now, every group, there's at least 10 people on one Korban. At least 10 people on one Korban Pesach, minimum. So there's 10 people for each sheep. Now, how do we get all of Am Yisrael in one shot? It's in one afternoon. So we bring in one group, we close the door. And they finish, come out, another group, we close the door. Another group goes, do we close the door? The door closes. Abai says, we don't close the door. The door closes by itself. You know why? We already saw that millions of people are fitting in. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic over here. So the Beit HaMikdash will close the door itself. And Rabbi says, no. One miracle, you can't rely on a miracle. We never rely on miracles. But according to Abaye, if there's already miracles happening, you can rely on the second one. And Rabbi says, even if there's already miracles happening, you can't rely on the second one. The Gemara says, V'aditnan amar b'Yehuda chas v'shulam she'Akiva ben Ma'aneh nidnada שאין עזרה ננערת על כל אדם בישראל בחוכמה בירת חטא כרקיביה בן מעניין. So I'll tell you a story. Akiva ben Menayer was a gadol ador. He was even before the Tanaim. He was in the Zugot. And there's a machlok in Sotah. So we're on Samir Dal and Amoud Bet. We started the Mishnah. Now we're on the first line that says Al Kol Adam. Okay, so there is a mitzvah of Sotah. What is Sotah? It's a woman, if she is secluded with a man, that's not her husband. So you know that there's the Alachav Yuchud. And Nomi Dapad Durat Sotah V'Kinfam Kipasafam. It's Alachav Yuchud. Now, if a wife is fooling around, the husband tells her, listen, with this guy, I don't want you to be alone. Warning. She's not allowed to be anyways. But when the man warns her, and she goes alone, and the room is locked, we don't know what happened. So what do we do with that lady? We bring her to the Beit HaMikdash, we give her a liquid, we take Hashem's name, we dip it inside, it disintegrates inside, and they drink it. If she did an Avera, she explodes. Reklat. And if she did no Avera, she gets a baby. So now, who do we do this to? So the halacha is, do we do it for a giorit, a woman that's a giorit, a converted lady, or do we do it for a slave that was mishucha? So there was the opinion of Akavya ben, it doesn't apply to the converts. The converted girl doesn't get this. We don't do this to her. But there was Shamaya ve'Avtanion that said yes we do. And they even said that Shammai Abdunan once gave the drink to a converted girl. And so Akavyan Menen, he said it does not approve because they were converts. Akavyan Menen, Shammai ben Avtanion, they were converts. They were, One second. They were the Gedul Adom. They were the head of the Sanhedrin. So since they were converts, they said, yes, we do, it's a machloket. They said, yes, we do the convert, because they wanted to show the convert is the same as the Jew. That's not the why. They felt the halacha was like it. But Akavah Minanet said, yeah, you know why they did it? Because they want to show that the convert is the same. It's not true. They're wrong. They just want to prove that they're the same as the regular Jew. Whether they are or not, convert could be higher than a Jew, whatever the halacha is. But Akavah Minanet was mizazen in the Gedolei Ador. So they wanted to put him in cherem. They wanted to put him in excommunication. They wanted to make it that he's nobody can go in the minyan. So they told him, Rabbi Yehuda said, can't be that a person that's so big that will never even if he wants that when all the Jews are in the Azarav, the Beit Mikdash Pesach, he's the biggest in Chochmah Nirat Chet. You can't put this guy the Gadol Ador. You can't put him in Nidui. That's what it says over here. So the thing is, how was that statement? Was it that that the doors are not locked on him, or we don't lock the doors on him? I'll say one more time. They wanted to put him in Nidui. And Rabbi Yehuda said, don't put him in Nidui, because when all of Am Yisrael is there in the Beit Mikdash, the biggest in Yirat Chet, that when we lock the door, it's him. So what does he mean? Do they lock the door, or the door's locked on its own? So Abai and Rav are both going to explain the way that they said it before. So that's what it says over here. Abai mitaretz detame, v'Rav mitaretz detame. Abai mitaretz detame, en bazera b'shat shin'edet. So the door is locked on its own. When it's locked on its own, who's the biggest guy over there? No, we don't lock the door. So either way, when we lock the door, he's the biggest guy. Anyways, it's a side point. It still stays the same, that Abaye says that the doors are locked on their own, and Rava says that we lock the doors in the Beit Mikdash. The Gemara continues. Tanu Rabbanan. Me'olam no nidma'ech adam b'azara chutz mipesach echad. You might think there could be a tragedy over there. Nobody ever was squished. Nobody ever died over there. Nobody got squished in the Beit Mikdash, even though there's so many people in that small space. Except for one Pesach, Shaya b'mei Hilen. There was one guy, shnitma'ech bo zaken echad. One old guy died. Vayikorin oto Pesach mu'akin. It was the Pesach that somebody was crushed. You know, like in Meron, people were crushed and things like that. Chas v'shalom, in the big places, it's dangerous. So in the Beit Mikdash, even though there was so many people, it was miraculous that nobody was ever crushed. One time it happened. Probably there was an Avera, probably something happened, because it's a miraculous thing. Why is the Gemara saying this over here, that only one time it happened? So what do we see over here? That even in holy places, that you should have Shmirah, you should have protection from heaven. It could happen in Meron, or in Uman, or in things like that. You got to be careful. Tanu Rabbanan. Pam echad bikesh Agrifas, HaMelech Ritan Enab B'Nochsei Israel. Agrifas HaMelech was the descendant of Hordus. He was not really supposed to be a king. He was not really a Jewish king. His father was from the slaves, so he wasn't allowed to be a king. You know that it is a slave cannot become a king. So if we free a slave is a goy. We buy him. We buy him as a slave. When we free him, he becomes Jewish, but he's not the same level. So he can't be a king. He could be do mitzvot, but he can't be the king. Agrippas was a descendant from a slave, and he was king. And either way, the Gemara, he wanted to know how many Jews there are. He wanted to do a consensus, but you can't Jews. So how did he do? So he told the Kohen Gadol, count all the Korban Pesach. So what did he do? Natan kulia mikol echad. He took a kidney, that's what it says there, a kidney? Mm-hmm. He took a kidney from every Korban Pesach. So all the Korban that were shechted, he took one kidney from. V'nimsu sham shishim ribo zuge kiliot. They found 600,000 pairs. That means 1.2 million. 1.2 million Korban Pesach. Kiflaim kiyotze Mitzrayim. Double the amount of Jews that came out of Egypt. Chutz mitameh v'shaya b'derech chokah. Forget about the people that were not there because they were tameh and they couldn't come in. Forget about the people that were not able to be in the Bet Mikdash. You know that the halacha called Pesach Sheni, that if you miss it, you're allowed to do it again. So we're not even talking people who missed. The people that were there. Ve'en lichakot Pesach sheno nimnu alei yoter me'asara bnei Adam. Every Pesach minimum is 10 people. Korban Pesach is minimum 10 people. We were asking before, how many people? You got to have a minimum of 10 people on a Korban Pesach. So make the calculation. Vayu korinu to Pesach me'ubin. We called that Pesach, c'était le grand Pesach. A fat Pesach, a thick Pesach. I mean, there was a lot of people. Huh?
That's 12 million people?
That's 12 million people.
Minimum.
Now make the cheshbon. 12 million people divided by 3. 4 million. So 4 million in the Azra each time. So imagine how big it was. I'm telling you, it's not so big. It's 100 amah by 50 amah. It's nothing. It's like from here. How big is that? It's not so big. 100 amot. From here to the table is 4 amot. So times 20. It's nothing. Nothing. So it was a miracle. You get in, it's a miracle. Okay? Natal Kuli, the Gemara says, Natal Kuliya habaya k'tuva. So 1 second, he takes the kidney. We have to burn the kidney. Because the Korban Pesach, you eat it, but you got it, all this stomach, everything in the stomach, you got to burn on the mizbech. How could he take a kuliya and then he's going to start to... He didn't burn it. The Gemara says, no, at the end of the day, he burned them. 1 second, the halakha is you got to burn them separate. You can't burn them together because the fat of this animal can't burn. Meaning there's a lineup that everything's been burning over there, and it's one by one. We throw in one at a time. You can't throw them all at a time. So the Gemara says, yeah, what he did is one by one he burned them. The Gemara says, no, it doesn't true also, because you can't burn the stomach, the kulia, without the intestines. You can't burn the liver without the intestine and the you got to burn it all together, the whole stomach together. So you can't burn them one by one on their own. The Gemara says, it really was just a way of counting. We would take the kidney, we would put, let's say, a nut, you take a bean or something, and we'd put a bean, like a Smartie or something, you put something, a rock, you put a bean, so this one, and just a way of counting. So we take it out, we count a bean in the bowl, then we put it back. We take it out, we count it. This is the way of counting. So they counted it not with the kidneys, they counted it with the beans, or whatever it was. The Gemara says, Kohanim omdim shurot shurot. So what do we see on the Mishnah? So when you're checking over here, there's a line of Kohanim that get the blood. What do we see on the Mishnah? If you remember we said yesterday, so let's say you're shekeling the animal over here, and it can be even a regular Jew shekeling the animal, and there's a lineup of Kohanim with silver bowls and a lineup of Kohanim with gold bowls. So what I do is I give you this bowl, you give him that bowl, you give him that bowl, all the way to the mizbech, and then you spill it on the mizbech. Then the empty bowl comes back, so it's really a shift. One's going and one's coming back. So this guy always gets a bowl, and this guy, the bowl's always going here. So I give you one, you give me one. You give him, he gives you. And that's all the way, that's how it's going. Now the ones in one roll have to have a gold bowl, and the ones in the other one have a silver bowl. It shouldn't be gold and silver. You shouldn't have silver over here and gold over here. So the Gemara wants to know, why is that true? The Gemara says, "My tama, idem adim mashakli davar ma'ne bikasva achenami idem mashakli bar matan u'ma'ne bar meya." Maybe it says because ma'alin bikodesh ven moridin. You go up in holiness and you don't go down. What does that mean? Let's say I have a Sefer Torah, and I want to cut out. We're not using it anymore. I'm going to take the part where it's written in the mezuzah. I'm going to cut it out and put it in mezuzah. You can't do that. Malin bekodesh ven moridin. If Sefer Torah is more holy than mezuzah, so I can't make the Sefer Torah into mezuzah. Not allowed to do that. If I have tefillin shed yad, okay, this is more holy than this because this has a sheen and yud. So if I have this strap over here and this strap is broken, I'm going to take this strap and put it here. I'm not allowed to. Manim because so same too. Maybe you're thinking that if I give you gold and you give me silver, I had gold and I got silver. If that can't be the truth because they're not all the same bowls. One is bigger, one is smaller. There's a lot of bowls over there. So one is worth $100, one is worth $200. So if I'm giving you a 200 and I'm getting a 100, I also went down. So it can't be that that's a pshat. It's not called manim b'kodesh. The difference between this tefillin and this tefillin because this did one mitzvah, now it's going to do in the mitzvah. But every bowl is a separate mitzvah. There's no such thing as going down over here. Each one is a different mitzvah. So the Gemara says, so what is the problem? The problem is, Ella de'achi shapir tveh. Just looks nicer. It just looks nicer. There's an inyan that it should look nice. If you have gold and silver here mixed up, it's not so nice. It looks better for the Beit Mikdash. Do things in the Beit Mikdash that look good. Make it mesudar, make it clean, make it nice. And we said yesterday that the bowls didn't have a bottom. It wouldn't be like this. It was like when you go to you were here yesterday? When you go to the dentist and you have the pointy cup. Why is that? So nobody's going to put it down. It's going to throw out your own cup. I don't want to throw out your cup. So it's same the Beit Mikdash also. The bowls didn't have bottoms because if we put it down, the blood's going to coagulate. We can't spritz it. So it would be like the bowls that would tip over. It had no base that would stand. The only one that had a base in the Beit Mikdash was one thing. Tanu Rabbanan. Kora bizichin shebe Mikdash lo hayu lehem shulaim chutz mibaziche levona. There was something that we had showbread. It was lechem panim. There was a table in the Beit Mikdash. And there was a few levels of it, I think 6 levels, and there was bread that the Kohanim brought every week, and they would take it back the week later. It's called lechem panim, and there was over there frankincense, a little like incense over there, and there was a bowl of frankincense that was next to the bread. That was the mitzvah. We'll speak about it when we get there. Now that one had a bottom. You know why? Because if it doesn't have a bottom, you're going to want to support it. What are you going to support it? You're going to support it on the showbread, and it might break the bread, and we're not allowed to break the bread. The Gemara continues. Shachat Yisrael v'kabel Kohen. So we said in the halakha, who shechs it? The Jewish guy shechs it, and the line is Kohanim. So the Kohanim get it. The Gemara says, Lo sagi lo Yisrael. Why tell me that specifically a Jew shechs it, Yisrael? Why not Kohen? Why shouldn't a Kohen do it? Isn't it allowed? The Gemara says, Ha gufa kashmanan, the shchita bizar ksheira. To tell you that the halakha is a regular, you're allowed to shecht your own korban Pesach. So you're allowed to shecht it, and the Kohanim, a Kohen, V'kibera Kohen, mashma, hamashmanan, the kabera be'elach mitzah kiuna. So you shecht it, and everything else is the Kohen. You're going to go there, that's why it's good to learn shchita. You're going to learn to learn shchita, you're going to go do your korban Pesach. You're going to shecht your own korban Pesach. We should learn it. Learn the knife, learn the thing, learn how to do it, you're going to give it. You can learn it, and then now you get it. But who does the rest? That's the Kohanim. The Gemara says, so now one friend gives to another. What do we say? One gives to him, one gives to him, one gives. From here, so we know that there's a mitzvah of holacha. There's 4 things when it comes to a korban: shechting the korban, getting the blood, bringing the blood to the mizbech, and sprinkling the blood. From here, we see that bringing the blood to the mizbech, you don't have to walk. Really, the Gemara has a question somewhere else. Maybe so I just pass it. I don't have to walk. This is a proof that you don't have to walk. And the Gemara says it's not a proof. Because we have that question in Masechet Zvachim. In Masechet Zvachim, want to know, how's the mitzvah bringing the blood? Do you actually have to walk or you don't have to walk? So the Gemara says, from here you don't have to walk. Dima who denied purta. Actually, no. Maybe they take one step. I did the mitzvah. I don't have to carry it all the way. I moved a little bit. I could either give it to you without moving, or I could take one step. It's not that the Kohanim are hand by hand. I could 2 steps away. I give it to you. So I did the mitzvah by walking. So there's no proof from here. If there's no proof from here, what do we need to know this for? The Gemara says, more people doing the mitzvah is nicer. Yes, everybody could walk to the mizbech and do it on his own. But when we're all together in the mitzvah, everybody's bringing it. That's what we said many times, we said before. Doing things together is much bigger for Hashem. As Rabbeinu says in Sefer Midot, even if you do a great mitzvah, but it's only beneficial for you, it's not as much as a small mitzvah that's mizakeh derabim. A small mitzvah that gets a lot of people involved is much bigger than your own personal mitzvah. That's even as big as it is. So what do? You wake up chatzot, or you give a shiur? Sound to be, you give a shiur. But actually, if you pray for people at chatzot, it's the same thing. If you pray for people, that's also including people in your mitzvah. Include others in your mitzvah. The Gemara says, specifically. So imagine I'm getting I'm getting the empty one. Sorry, so Johnny, I'm giving him the bowl of blood. There's two things happening. He's giving me the empty and I'm giving him the full one. I'm giving you the full one, you're going to give to David the full one, he's going to give to God the full one, and he's getting the empty one. Specifically, when we're both putting our hands out, I have a small bowl here, and you have an empty bowl. So we're putting like this. You got to take the full one first, then you give me the empty one. That's how it is. First, you take the full, and then give me the empty. Not I'll give you the empty, you give me the full. Why is that? The Gemara says, Damar Bishimon, Abal Ipchalo, Nisayel Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon Lakish, Damar Rabbi Shimon Lakish, and Ma'avirin an ha-mitzvot. This supports the halakha we know that you cannot skip over mitzvot. Since he has a mitzvah to get the full one, and giving me the empty one is not a mitzvah. So if he gives me he has the ability of doing two. So if he's using his hand to give me the empty one first, then he just skipped over the mitzvah of giving me the full one. He should first do the mitzvah when it's in his possibilities, and then do the thing which is not the mitzvah. If I have talit and tefillin, like we said, okay, that's why people come and they want to be misudar. They come to the shul, they take their talit out, they take their tefillin out, and then they take their talit and put it on. No, once you have the tefillin here, you have to put the tefillin on first. Take the talit out of the bag first and put it on. Then take the tefillin out of the bag first and on. Don't skip over mitzvah. Here we see the same cloud over here. The Gemara continues.
All the bowls, where you couldn't put them down,
No.
so you had to hold it, everything had to
Yes,
be
because
down.
if you put it down, what's happened? It coagulates. No.
Oh,
It becomes, spilling could be a problem.
but the bottom, wasn't the flat bottom?
No, it was a triangle bottom. So that you can't put it down, because if you put it down, what happens? If you're able to put it down, it's going to sit there, it's going to become solid, and you can't sprinkle it on the mizbech. You know, blood, that's why you stop bleeding, because the blood that comes out, it starts to coagulate. It's a good thing. Some people that don't stop bleeding, it's dangerous. They can't do brit milah, a lot of things. So the Gemara continues. So what do we say? The Kohen HaKohen, he sprinkles it, he pours it on the mizbech. He pours it. Now there's two ways, there's two mitzvot. Some korbanot, you actually, you pour it, zorek, you throw it on the mizbech, or some you actually pour it nicely on the mizbech. Do I, from here, just spritz it on the wall? I don't have to be close to it. I spritz it on the mizbech. This is the size of the mizbech. The mizbech is bigger than this, but this is I spritz it on the mizbech, or do I have to come close and pour it on the mizbech? Our Mishnah said you throw it. Kol man pesach, you're allowed to throw it. The Gemara wants to know, how do we know that? Kohen HaKarev etzem mizbech. Man tana pesach bizrika. Who says that pesach is bizrika, that we throw it and we don't pour it? Amar Rav Chizda. Amar Rav Chizda, Amar Rabbi Yossi Aglili. It's Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Detanya. Rabbi Yossi Aglili omer et damam tizrok al hamizbeach ve'et chelbam taktir damon. So we're speaking about the bechor over here. You know that
Quand il faisait l'aspersion, est-ce qu'il devait juste faire avec les doigts et après mettait le sang, ou il devait jeter tout le sang sur le...
he takes the whole bowl and I think he pours it. He spritzes it on
Quand on voit le rituel, quand ils font l'inauguration du Mishkan, c'est...
Yes, some things it's spritzing on the side, something it's pouring the whole thing on the side.
It actually says zrika, throwing implies that the blood is thrown from a distance. This is in contrast to bringing the bowl of blood close to the altar and gently pouring it there.
But what he's asking here is that sometimes you take the fingers and you
No, but
spritz.
it says
the bowl.
The bowl, because they would pour it from the bowl in shvicha, and in zrika they would throw.
Exactly. Throw the whole bowl, the whole cup. You pour it on the wall. Now then it goes down. You pour it on the wall, and then it goes down to Yesod. And then there's holes over there. Then it goes into the ground. So that's one way of doing it. And how do we know this is true? You know, there's another korban which is called bechor. Every animal that you have that's a firstborn, it owns by the Kohen. It's not yours. So you have sheep. This mother, she's going to give 30 babies. The first one is not yours. The first one you have to bring to the Beit Mikdash. There it says, when you're giving the bechor, it says, when you're the blood of the bechor, it says, et damam tizrok, damam, et damo, it's bloods. What it's bloods? It's only bechor. So here, לא נאמר אלא דמם, דמו לא נאמר אלא דמם, חלבו נאמר אלא חלבם. So it says it's blood. So what is it talking about? נימד על בכור ומעשר ופסח שהם טעונים מתן דמים ואמורים לגבי המזבח. So now it teaches over here that, you know, the Korban Pesach, we never have any place where it's written you got to give the blood on the Mizbech. But since it's not written, it's written plural in Bechor, so whatever exists by Bechor is going to listen to Korban Pesach and the Maaser as well. One more thing to tell you. If you have one sheep, the mother sheep gave one. Every 10 you got to give as well. So the first one you give, and every 10th you give as well to the Beit Mikdash. It's a maser of sheep.
You have to bring them up right away, or you can wait until you're going?
I think you can wait until you're going. Yeah. And so there it says that you got to spread, you got to throw the blood. So here too, you got to throw the blood. How do we know that it has to go on the yesod? Because there's many places you could sprinkle. On the top, on the bottom, it has to get on the bottom base. How do we know that? So we know that olah is another type of korban where you burn it completely, you have to throw the blood. So since it says zrika ba'olah, and we know that the olah is on the yesod, so anytime you're throwing blood, it has to go to the yesod. How do we know? Tivacha et damam tizrok al mizbeach, v'tivatam zaku b'nei Aaron hakohanim et damo al mizbeach saviv. So you throw the blood of the olah. You read that every day. Ma olah tiuna yesod, apesach nami tinu yesod. Ve'olah gufa menanana makra et yesod ha-mizbeach ha'olah. Alma olah tiuna yesod. So what do we learn? We learn that yesod is zrika and it's on the yesod. Olah is zrika on the yesod. We know that korban pesach is also zrika, so it's also on the yesod. Basically, it's not, you don't pour it on the yesod on the base, you pour it on the wall, it drips down to the yesod. Yatzta kat rishona. Look at this amazing, scary halacha. Musa. What do we say? That there's three groups, right? The first group comes in, they finish the korban pesach, they leave. The third one. The last group, Tana, hi nikrat kat atzlanit. This is a lazy group. These are lazy people. Lazy. You're third, you should have third, you're lazy. Why? Vadosagi de lavachi. 1 second, there's no other way. What do you mean? We can't go in together. There's 3 shifts. Why am I lazy? The Gemara says, what do you want me to do? You should have come early. You should have come early. Yes, it has to be like this. But who said you have to be number 3? But somebody has to be number 3, but not you. Look what it says here. We need perfume. We need perfume. We also need leathers. You need a guy that's making perfumes, right? And you need a guy that's tanning leather. They're both needed. Good for the guy that's working in the perfume and not working in the leather. We need both. One guy has a job, he's playing music at weddings. And one guy, he's working in a paper mill, he's burying people. What is it? We need both, but better you should have a good job that's helpful for the people. And look what it says over here. So this, we need boys, we need girls. Praiseworthy as that boys, and oinot when has girls. It's a blessing to have boys. And the Gemara says why it's a blessing to have boys? Because girls, you're always worried. You're worried when she's young, if somebody's gonna seduce her. When she's older, if she's gonna meet a boyfriend. When she's older than that, she's not gonna have kids. If she's older than that, all kinds of problems with girls. The Gemara says, a father's always worried about a girl. Is it true? But about the boy, you're less worried. So it's better. You need boys, you need girls. It says somewhere that it's praiseworthy is the guy who has a lot of boys and one girl, because that way he did the mitzvah of having a girl and he has mostly boys. But you see that girls are also needed. Okay, so the guy has better than boys. That's what the Gemara says. Boys learn Torah. Now, not another diuk over here with David Medayik. Look what it says. So the same thing, by the way. So somebody has to be third, but why after you be third? You should be first. And look at the diuk over here. It says also, Oim Ashrim Shebanav. Banav means kids, but it also means boys. Ashrim Shebanav Zecharim. Oino Shebanav Nekevot. You see the drash over here? Praiseworthy is that guy has a boy that's a boy, and chaval on the guy who has a boy that's a girl. Meaning two pshatim. Is one is you have a man that's not acting. It's not the simple pshat is even that a man is a malchut, and some guy's a schlepper. He's like a nekeva. He's a schlepper. Yeah, chaval. Praiseworthy you have a boy is a boy, and according to the olam today, like you said, David, the worst thing could be is that as a banav nekevot.
Oh my God.
Kimaseu bichon. So what do we see over here, by the way? The poskim writes, 1 second. If we just have another few lines because we have to get through it. Or we have, what did we just say? God, even for us, a big musar. The only one that doesn't have this musar is Meir. If Artie, you're allowed to be late, and we call you lazy if you're late. If you shouldn't be late, what happens? There's 3 shifts. There's not 3 1. There's 1 shift. So if there's 1 shift and you're late for 1 shift, that's not good. Understand? So from here we see the Gemara is makpid on being on time. Yeah, it's something we're worth on, and most of us are not on time because we're not responsible. We're on time because we try to do too much. We're late because we try to do too many things. When you overpack your days and your abilities, so then you're late. If you say, I'm not able to do everything, I'm able to do this and I'm going to do it right from the beginning at the end. Our problem is that we're trying to do so many things, good things, but we're limited. So maybe take a few less things on, but do them from beginning to end. We'll work on it, B'ezrat Hashem. Kimasel bichol. Huh? Last little thing, because Baruch Hashem we're catching up, because this is our real Amoud today. Last little thing, another 2 minutes. The Gemara says, Ma'aseh bichol. So what did we say? Remember that everything is the same on Shabbos and the weekday, except that in the weekday, how would you clean up the Beit Mikdash? There's no hoses over there. So there was a stream of water coming in on this side, and the stream of water coming on the outside. And there's a hole here, and the hole here. So there's a Mayan. So if you want to clean up the Beit Mikdash, you plug the hole over here like a bath. It starts to flood, and then you open the hole, and it brings all the blood out with it. They would do that also on Shabbat. Now, Chachamim were not happy with that. Why are Chachamim not happy with that? So the Gemara explains. I'll tell you outside.
So what was this for? What?
Because there's 4 million people shechting animals over there. So there's tons of blood in the Azara. So how do you clean up the place? So in the whole week they had a hole over here and a hole over here. Water's coming in here, and so you block it up, floods. Your feet are in water a little bit.
It's not water, it's blood, no?
It's blood and water mixed up. It's like a little river coming in. So the river flood. Now it's gathering all the blood. It's gathering all the blood, and then it goes out. You take out the plug, and it goes out. If you have a dirty,
Why would we want to pile it up?
Again, there's 4 million people shechting Korban Pesach. There's blood everywhere on the floor.
Yeah, why are we blocking the...
Okay, so now if you have a bathtub and you have sand and dirt in your bathtub, what do? And you don't have it, so you fill up the bathtub, you block it, and then you take off the plug and everything comes out. It gets everything out. It's the way to clean out the blood. Okay. This is the way of cleaning up blood. The Chachamim were not happy with this when they did it on Shabbat. Who is Chachamim that wasn't happy? So the Gemara says, Shelo bitzon man. Which rabbi was not happy? Amar Rav Chizda shelo bitzon Rabbi Eliezer. It was Rabbi Eliezer that says no good. Di Rabbanan hamat shvutu ven shvut b'mikdash. Because according to Chachamim, it's Isur de Rabbanan. What's the problem over here? We're going to see that according to Chachamim, it's Isur de Rabbanan. What is Isur de Rabbanan? Are you allowed to sweep on your house on Shabbat? So we're allowed to sleep. Sfardim are allowed to sweep, especially if it's mirutzaf, if it's tiled. You have a wood floor, you're allowed to sweep. But if it's a dirt floor, like most people had a dirt floor. Chavetz Chaim had a dirt floor. Rabbeinu had a dirt floor. And there was a few things in order to keep dirt, padded dirt. There was what did they have? The houses were dirt until not long ago.
No, but he had a carpet, he had something.
Maybe a carpet, maybe the Persians had carpet, but yes, you're right. So that's why maybe the Rabbanan made Doraita. Anyways, let me just explain to you. When you have a dirt floor and it was really padded down, there was 2 things they used to do. They would sweep it once in a while, and the sweeping was for the purpose of filling up the holes, because it's all dirt. So what are you getting away? So they would sweep it to meshave gumot. The little, it's getting a little dented over here. The kid's toy got stuck over here. Let's make it pat it down.
We should give the Gemera to the city. Fill the potholes.
Second thing they would do is, we learned this also in Mesechet Pesachim and Mesechet Neruvim. They would take different liquids, and really good was wine, and they would sprinkle it in the air because a little bit of dust would be in the air. And the water sort of brings down the dust and brings it down to the ground. It cleans up the air. It's called merabetz. Okay? Now, is that Isur Torah? Yes, it's Isur Torah. But what about if it's tiled? Like he's saying, it was tiled in the Beit Mikdash. So it's Isur de Rabbanan. It's an Isur de Rabbanan to do that. And Rabbi Eliezer is the only opinion that says Isur Doraita. If it's tiled, that's why, is there any problem for me to sweep my regular floor? Some say the Rabbanan, some say it's Mutar. So our halakha is that it's allowed. Ashkenazim don't sweep on Shabbos. Because if you sweep here, you might sleep on the outside in the sukkah. And if you sweep in the sukkah, you might be mishaveh gumot, you might pat it down, you might be building. It's called building over there. It's called mishaveh gumot. When you add something in the ground, let's say you take a nail and you put it in the wall, you just Isur Doraita of building. If you, Labouré, oui, mais c'est quel menacha? Il y a 39 menachot. So which one is it? It's building on Shabbat. Okay, there's 39 menachot on Shabbat. The same thing. So if you wanna pat something down in the ground, you just did boneh. So, but what about if it's tiled? Well, there's no problem. I can't pat anything down. Everything's fine. So somebody can say it's Isur de Rabbanan, and if it's Isur de Rabbanan in the Beit Mikdash, there's no Isur de Rabbanan. So there's no problem with Isur de Rabbanan in the Beit Mikdash.
What does that mean?
In Beit Mikdash, we waive all the Isur de Rabbanan.
Wow.
Yeah, according to Chachamim. And the reason why we waive them is because it's a holy place. Nobody's going to do the sotoraita. Don't sweep here because you might sweep here. We're in the holiness here. We're not forgetting the arachot. But according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's Isur Doraita, because he holds, for whatever reason, cleaning the floor is like makib patish. You just finished off the job. There's a lot of...
Well, if the water was going underneath, there could have been maybe something growing based on the water.
I don't think it's not going underneath. They're really, really well done, the tiles. Not like those guys who mess up your tiles. And
He's not talking about water, he's just talking about sweeping.
No, but now we're talking about water, because
Oh,
what you
we're
said
talking
before.
about water to-
So what they did is they
rinse the
would
gutter.
let water in, they would flood the Beit HaMikdash with the plug it, and then take a plug so it would take all the blood out. So who is the one that said, I'm not happy with this? It was, and it could be even it's the Rabbanan. It could be the Rabbi Eliezer still puts it the Rabbanan over. What they see the Rishonim, but it seems like he puts it the Rabbanan, because he would say it's Doraita, he would stop them from doing it. So it's probably a Rabbanan according to Rabbi Eliezer. Echad HaCholev, because the Tanya, Echad HaCholev, milking a cow. V'amechabetz. Did you know that if you take a little piece of the stomach, the enzymes in the stomach, and you put it in milk, it makes coagulated cheese? Do you know that? They take actually a little piece of the stomach of the meat, and they put it in milk, and that sort of like separates the fat from the liquid and makes it. That's called boneh as well. So cholev is called mifarek. You can milk a cow on Shabbos. You can't put inside milk something to coagulate it and make it into cheese. That's called boneh. You're making something. The megaben is making cheese.
Presses cheese.
Huh?
Presses cheese.
And how do they do that? Does it say there?
So making ice cubes is a problem on Shabbat?
I don't know how they
because
make
it
ice
goes
cream.
back to its...
What, with water? Ice cubes?
No, because
No.
it can go back to its original...
No.
state.
It's, let's say there's milk. Milk has like water inside, has fat.
You're actually making cheese.
You're separating them. You're doing a borer between them. So you're doing a borer by making the cheese, make a ben.
He presses together individual curds to form a block.
So now what happens is when you put something inside, it starts to curd it. It starts to make it curds. Then if you press them together, you just made the cheese. It's a little piece of cheese,
You
cottage
put
cheese.
them in a cloth. They put it and then it becomes hard.
Exactly. All this is Isur Doraita, okay? Ki gore gerot. Even the size of a fig, if you did it, it's Isur Doraita. Amechabed, sweeping the floor. V'amerabetz, sprinkling it. V'arodeh chalot, if you have chalas and an oven, taking them down is Isur Derabanan. These are three Isur Derabanan. B'Shabbat b'shovgeg chayav chatat v'zid b'yom. If you do it on Shabbat, b'shogeg,
Unintentional.
chayav chatat. Unintentionally, it's a chayav chatat. On the first ones, v'zid hizid b'yom tov loket arba'im. On Yom Tov a little bit less, you get makot. Divrei Rabbi Eliezer. So there's three which are dorait over here. The other ones seems to be the Rabbanan according to me. And Rabbi Eliezer says it's a Rabbanan. You're not allowed to do it. Chachamim omrim echad ze v'echad ze eno l'mishum shvut. And Rabbanan say no. These are Isur Rabbanan. The Chachamim, the Isur Rabbanan. You're allowed to do it inside the Beit Mikdash. So therefore, Rabbi Eliezer will say you can't do it in the Beit Mikdash. Chachamim say you can do it in the Beit Mikdash. So who was not happy was Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer seems to say there's an Isur de Rabbanan in the Beit Mikdash. I think that's the pshat. Rav Ashi amar afilu tema shelo b'yitzon Chachamim. ורבי נתני, דתני רבי נתן אומר, שבות צריכה התירו, שבות שאין צריכה לא התירו. So according to, it could be even Chachamim, because Rabbi Natan explained, Chachamim says, you're allowed to do it when it's needed for a mitzvah. When it's not needed for a mitzvah, you're not allowed to do it. And since the Korban Pesach is already done, we don't let you do an Isur de Rabbanan. I'll repeat it one more time, we just said. That the way, the Beit HaMikdash was dirty with blood. So the way to get that out is to plug the hole, and you're doing what's called mechabed. You're cleaning it up. It's like you're sweeping it up. You're flooding it out. Is that mutar or asur? It's a machloket. It's an Isur de Rabbanan according to Rabbi Eliezer. Let's say according to everybody it's Isur de Rabbanan. But according to Chamim, you're allowed to do an Isur de Rabbanan Beit Mikdash. That's what David asking. According to Rabbi Eliezer, you can't. So who was the one who was not happy? It was Rabbi Eliezer. Or we say, no, even Chachamim that says you're allowed to do that, Rabbi Natan explained that you're only allowed to do it when it's needed. When it's needed, if it's needed to shech the korban. But if it's not needed, you're just cleaning it for nice. You're not allowed to do Isur de Rabbanan for something that's not needed for a mitzvah. If it's needed for a mitzvah, do it. If it's not needed for a mitzvah, don't do it. And they were doing it after the fact, just to keep it clean. So it was not according to it was not satisfactory to the rabbis. Chazak